Habit number 7. Make gratitude lists. Just as spoken words have the power to shape your reality, written words engrave your desires and current state into the physical world itself. When you write something down, you leave a memory and give your words life in the most immediate way. This is why we must also be vigilant with our words when writing them out in whatever fashion. You can tell a lot about a person from the words that they choose to use on a regular basis, meaning also that you can train and change your brain just from what you say and write every single day. We then come to the classic habit of writing out appreciation through gratitude lists. This is a powerful way to build a grateful mindset because your words take life when you write them out. Preferably, this happens on paper because you can physically interact with it and connect to it in a visceral way. But any form of written expression will yield the benefit of creating a visual reminder, an anchor of what you're grateful for in that moment. Once given life, the words are able to travel through time with you and be there when the swamp will inevitably try to grow some weeds in your front yard. Surround yourself with positive words of appreciation, and they will keep the garden of your mind fresh and curated of the negative ones that will tend to spring up by default through complaining. In the appendix of this book, I outline several interesting studies that give some important perspectives to your lesson on inherent nature. These and other similar studies remind us of the importance of constant awareness and a mindful practice of gratitude, offering 3 specific reasons why it is fundamentally important to make a habit of outlining your blessings on a regular basis in written and spoken form. First, we have a built-in accommodation system that gets used to the good things we enjoy as we repeatedly experience them. What this basically means is that it's part of our inherent nature to get bored of something and find less value in it over time as we are exposed to it on a regular basis. This habituation to a person, place, or thing is just another name for the third obstacle of desensitization. After enough repetition, even something that was incredibly enjoyable the first time around can become nothing more than a mild interest at best. This is the flesh that we inherit, and it is cursed, doomed to spiral into the swamp and stay there without a relationship to God and without a practice of gratitude. The second reason why it is important to make a habit of expressing gratitude has to deal with how our memory works. We are much more apt to remember negative experiences than positive ones. And because emotion is usually involved in committing an experience to memory, this also means that negative experiences, which often elicit stronger emotional responses, have a longer shelf life in our brains than positive ones. This is called negative bias, and what it all boils down to is that on any given day it is much easier to recall complaints and problems than it is to recall all of the wonderful things that have happened. Why? Because your brain simply isn't paying that much attention to them by default. And if good things do happen, your brain doesn't bother to smolder them into your memory through strong emotions like it does with negative experiences, at least most of the time. Adding more fuel to the fire, we have a brain that is constantly talking and labeling the world around us through language. Knowing what you know about inherent nature, what would you suppose is the general direction of this constant chatter? The answer is that we are hardwired to look for problems and label the negative things, or label neutral things negatively. Even with the people and things that we love, our mind will inadvertently keep a ledger of negative experiences and history over the positive ones because that is what it does by default. With every day that passes, the chattering mind sticks a black label on everything around you, and pretty soon you are surrounded by the darkness of the swamp. What is the answer against such an overpowering propensity for negative bias? The answer, of course, is Jesus Christ, and with a new heart, we have the ability to make a different choice. But that new way of being must be practiced, and that's why there are over 1,000 imperatives, commands, in the New Testament. So awareness is key, and that compass must be continually calibrated and recalibrated. A calibrated compass can move in the right direction, which of course is towards God, and the more we make a practice of walking that narrow path, the more our skill with these things will grow. While it is true that we habituate to stimuli, mindfulness and awareness can counteract this process. That is why I said earlier that many, if not all of these habits have some element of presence in them. If you are skilled at the art of being present, you realize that every moment is an entirely new iteration of everything around you, including the people, places, and things you once thought were the same from yesterday. Nothing is old news, and there's nothing to quote-unquote get used to because in reality, it's always new and different. This is a profound thought, and it will help you discover newness in the ordinary moments of life. So this is why deliberately and mindfully writing out your blessings is key. It brings your awareness directly to that new iteration in the present moment again and again, refreshing your perspective and bypassing the negative wiring of the brain that constantly works against you. Because of how memory and language work, writing gratitude lists offers massive benefits because it builds the pathway to access those positive memories and feelings quickly, before your attention gets sidetracked by the default pull of your flesh, the world, and the enemy. Every time you express your gratitude for a person, place, or thing, you are actually recreating it in your mind from that new space and emotion. This is a very important point. It's like hitting the refresh button on your browser to get the new information on a page. Just as your mind is constantly putting labels on things, so too can you train it, at least sometimes, to put different labels or at the minimum take the old ones off quicker so that there's a space for something new. Like trying to dig a ditch with someone throwing dirt back in while you work, remember that your mind will continually tend toward negative labels, exaggerated stories, and biased memories. This means that you will always have a constant supply of mental content to recreate and refresh through the mindful expression of what you are grateful for. Think, for example, how often we let a negative experience with a friend, a loved one, or a coworker shape who that person is to us in our minds, quickly weighing our emotionally charged negative memory over dozens of positive qualities and experiences with these people. A few moments of drama, burned with emotion, can take precedence over years of memories and trust. This is why you must get in the habit of continually recreating your world and the people in it from a space of gratitude. And one great way to do it is by making regular gratitude lists. Making gratitude lists is a powerful daily practice because it is structured, you can do it alone, it's simple, and it provides you with immediate proof of what you're grateful for. Remember that it's easy to forget how much we're blessed with, but when we make a habit of specifically outlining those blessings, it's hard to deny them, even during the more challenging times of life. My suggestion is to get a notebook that really resonates with you and make a habit out of writing daily gratitude lists. Keep these around over time and return to them occasionally, perusing the progression of your life through a flip book of appreciation. It will be an enlightening experience and one that will surely bring a smile to your face. Daily gratitude practice. For this habit, I will encourage one of the following for your daily gratitude practice. Write a list of at least 5 things you're grateful for every single day. The time of day doesn't matter. In the morning and in the evening, mentally enumerate at least 3 things that you're grateful for before you begin or end the day. Buy a gratitude journal and write at least 3 to 4 sentences in it of what you're grateful for each day. Chopping tips. A few tips for making gratitude lists. As with spoken gratitude, writing benefits from being specific. The more specific you are, the more you can train your mind to zone in on the details using your senses. Being grateful for having water to drink, for example, is a great start, but it's even better to describe exactly how refreshing it was for you and how fortunate you are to have such easy access to it, when the truth is that hundreds of millions of others in the world do not. Be careful of cynicism and attachment as they manifest in thoughts like, I'm just not good with words, or I can't be so descriptive, or let's just get this exercise over with. Everything takes practice, and your ability to use vocabulary will also reflect your ability to pay attention to the details, to use your senses, and to be mindful and present to the light and shade all around you. Use these lists as a way to practice this mindfulness through writing rather than as a to-do list where you enumerate briefly what you're grateful for. In the end, it's about quality, not quantity. If you're having a hard time with exercise number 2 because of fatigue, either early morning or evening fatigue, try sitting quietly and naming what you see first and why you're grateful for it. This can be your bed, the blanket, a glass of water that you drink out of, whatever it is. This is a simple way to avoid having to be creative when your body is ready to be shut off, and also a way to train your brain to find appreciation regardless of fatigue. When you buy a gratitude journal, make sure that it's something that inspires you. Let your imagination and creativity do the driving and make it a playful adventure. Decorate it, doodle in it, really make it yours. Don't just go get some boring notebook and throw it into your drawer. The more you invest in a practice, the more that practice will reward you back. So make it less an agenda and more like a fun, creative project.